Good evening, free enterprise fans, and welcome to another Highway to the Zemus Zone 5 matchup. It is the Blue Moon Waning phase, FieryBlizzard versus ndoto. My name's Vitasia, and I'm joined tonight on the mic by Smapedy. How we doing tonight, Smape?
Doing fantastic. So happy to be in the booth with you, Vitasia. It seems like we've been working together every other day since this tournament started, but I think this is the first time that we've been together in the booth. So really looking forward to this, and really looking forward to this matchup. This is the waning bracket, so it's all on the line here. It's win or go home, so neither of these runners are going to be holding back tonight.
Absolutely not. And both of these runners, certainly very experienced runners here. But you're right. This is, in a double elimination bracket, the entire waning side is win or go home, which adds another layer of excitement. Sometimes we'll see some different gambles, and sometimes we'll see some different routing at play. It'll be really interesting to see the choices that both Fiery and ndoto end up making tonight.
Definitely. Taking a look at our bosses here, it's an interesting mix. We've got some of the scarier bosses here. We've got Volvalis, we've got Asura, is never fun to fight. But then we've also got like the Baron Guards, we've got Dark Knight Cecil, who, depending on when he shows up, usually isn't too much of a threat. So this is kind of interesting here. We've got some nasty, some a little bit on the easier side. So a good mix tonight.
I think the key thing to keep in mind with all of these particular bosses, not a single lunar sparkle among them. When you're doing your face checks and trying to check to see which bosses you have to do and which bosses you don't have to do, that lunar sparkle can be kind of a double-edged sword if you have too many of those bosses in the mix. Not a single one is on our list, so if you see a sparkle, you can run away from it and it would be perfectly fine.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be able to get pretty much perfect intel on all of these bosses just by their sprite alone. I think the only one that might be the tiniest bit ambiguous is the guards. But other than that, yeah, we should be good to go just on what we can see. This will come into, like you said, so we don't have to worry about that sparkle. If it comes to a late game face check situation, that'll be something our punters will really appreciate.
What do we think about our starting character? We have a starting Yang, our fantastic punch mage right out of the gate. He's kind of an interesting character. Like he has some endgame viability. He has some situational viability, of course, paired with a cane that's fantastic. But what do you think of a Yang right out of the gate?
Well, when I know that I've got Dark Knight Cecil on the board as one of the bosses I've got to hunt, and speaking of boss hunts, there's a sparkle there giving away our first item, so we already know that there's a little bit less value in Baron Castle than might normally be. But yeah, when I've got that DKC out there, and I know that beating him is going to be gated by how much HP I have, I feel a little more comfortable knowing that I've got Yang to deploy, because Yang can very easily reach HP thresholds to make that fight survivable that other characters might not.
No, that's a great point, depending on a number of factors. Looks like both runners are going to be following each other's footsteps right now, immediately going into to Mysidia to get our two character checks. So it looks like we're going to start out with a Tella and a Cid. Okay, so two characters that have a little bit of overlap in their utility there.
Yeah, you like Tella for the early spell access, and then late game you like him for the anchor. Cid, very similar situation to Yang, where you like him for being a big pile of HP, and then late game also being an anchor. Not a lot of power there. We do have Kayn, who can benefit a lot from some of these melee grabs, but yeah, if I'm in the runner's shoes, I'm going to still be looking for characters here.
Absolutely. We see Fiery over here, being thorough and certainly checking out the other, the item shop and the weapon and armor shop just to make sure if anything's there. We did see an Artemis bow that ndoto ended up picking up in the Watery Pass, along with our resident white mage, Rosa, in the Watery Pass, which that's kind of a nice 1-2 wombo combo there. Artemis bow with Rosa.
Yeah, gosh, now all we need to see is a heroine robe here somewhere, and we've got some serious early to mid-game damage. Honestly, even into the late game, Rosa can be a fantastic archer. with the right setup. Oh, there's a White Lance for Kane, and that's melee power big time for him.
We are good to go with that particular pickup. ndoto, exiting out. Looks like FieryBlizzard is also going to be picking up that White Lance as well. So not necessarily an advantage, but that White Lance is one of the best weapons for Kane, and he will be able to just really carry the rest of this party through even mount ordeals and into the point that we have the levels to be able to go underground finally.
Yeah, if I'm in the runner's shoes right now, I'm feeling really good about this early games. Getting some power online can be... Oh my god, there's a heroine robe! So we've got Rosa online, we've got Kane online, and that is some big damage right there.
Keep in mind, Fiery is not choosing to do... That's kind of the back door of the Watery Pass, so not everyone decides to do that particular check. And Fiery has not done it, so he will have a little bit less power. Not that he isn't capable of certainly getting through everything with the White Lance, but worth noting that Fiery will have a little bit less power going into everything with that Rosa than ndoto will have.
Yeah, most definitely. And we find Rydia there in Damsian. We are... well, we only have one character check left, but we've got most of the reject percent sweep here between... Young, Tella, Sid, Rydia. I guess we just need Edward in there as well. So not a lot of high power characters available here, but the characters that are high power already have what they need to be high power. So that's very interesting so far.
I mean, I know what character I'm going to see. We've checked every character spot except for one up on Mount Ordeals. I know what character I want to see. What do you want to see up on Mount Ordeals yet?
Oh, I want to see that Edward. Show me that Edward. Asuka's rolled the seed. There's one character left. It has to be Edward, right?
I don't know. I forgot to ask Asuka if she sufficiently blessed the seed with her wisdom. And I put wisdom in heavy quotation marks that are like bolded and italicized and underlined.
Wisdom, not one of Edward's strengths, but agility, absolutely so. And paired with food, can do some serious damage.
Meanwhile, let's see. Rydia in her free spell up on Mount Hob, she gets Odin, which, hey, I've learned over the past few days, Odin can do some work, absolutely. However, the CPU spot in Antlion, this is no matter when you fight this particular fight, it's always going to be a bit of a slog, which is unfortunate because it's a low HP spot. We only really have one character who can do a ton of damage right now, and that's Kane with the White Spear. And it's unfortunate because this is one of those spots that you want to get through quickly, but this is going to slow you down.
Yes, indeed. And ndoto's getting a lot of opportunities here from the extra looting that he's been doing. Picking up that Earth Hammer for Sid, which is really interesting early game, because what this team lacks right now is some really solid multi-target damage. Well, that Earth Hammer kind of provides it in the early parts of this game. Sid getting to do kind of a little bit of a gimped version of the Quake spell with it, but it hits multi-target, and I wonder if he's going to whip it out here against the CPU.
In the meantime, welcome Free Enterprise 2 for that raid. Welcome over here. Please, just as a reminder, do not spoil the results of the previous race that you guys were watching. We want to make sure to give everyone the opportunity to go and watch that back on their own if they so desire. In the meantime, we just get started here with FieryBlizzard and ndoto. We have some decent power already. We have a White Spear. We have, we did find an Artemis Bow that was readily available, a Heroine Robe that ndoto has, but FieryBlizzard does not. So worth noting there. FieryBlizzard pulling out the Stardust Rod and hoping that this Kane lands. Yeah, I think that's going to do enough damage to get through.
Yeah, the jump plus Stardust combo, very, very strong. I think that CPU, the main core, was sitting at around 600, 700 HP, depending on how it's divided. So pretty heads-up play there to get through. Gets the Adamant, not a particularly useful key item, but it is a key item nonetheless.
I think that's the most interesting thing about the Blue Moon Seeds is the journey to 10 key items. For those of you who do not know, In free enterprise, we have it programmed so that once you hit the 10 key item mark, all experience for fights is doubled. It can make your grind a little bit easier, make boss fights a little bit easier to level you up faster. However, if you have to commit the time to get the 10 key items, and this has been a really intriguing set of flags because key items are not necessarily your primary objective. So we found a lot of runners are kind of putting them off and not getting to 10 key items by the end game. And it's made a lot of decisions very difficult as we've progressed through this tournament.
And FieryBlizzard, with some heads-up play there, wants to get the proper intel. Knows that is actually Rubicante on his own up on Mount Hobbs. That is not the 4 elements. So even though neither of those are necessary bosses, he'll now know, okay, if I see that red robe again, then I know what boss I'm going up against. So wasting a couple of seconds for that kind of information is really smart play.
Absolutely. So we have... Meanwhile, get a back row glitch on Sid there, which I think is smart, and also getting Rosa equipped. While FieryBlizzard goes up Mount Ordeals, ndoto is going to show us the free item in our wonderful Bedward. Was that a Poison X, or were those just arrows?
I didn't catch it. I just saw the word poison. Oh, there's our hook!
There is our hook. So... And in the meantime, we end up ditching Sid for a Palom. Palom is, of course, known as our Quake Kid. Frankly speaking, the superior Black Mage in this particular game. Sorry, Rydia. Don't want to be too harsh there.
Now, Rydia is a caller, not a Black Mage. It's all right. She's got her own thing to do.
It's true. Meanwhile, ndoto also end up looting the Pauper's treasury over here in... Troya as well. Found a couple good things. I saw some Thunderclaw that we may have already had, so a nice little equipment. I did see a Poison Claw as well, so a little bit of equipment for Yang. Meanwhile, we have our Calbrenna. This is our first required boss up here on Mount Ordeals that ndoto is going to find almost directly.
Yeah, and ndoto's just massive looting spree continues here. A lot more looting than we've often seen, and it's honestly been paying off for him a bit. He's been getting some very high-powered items. You gotta wonder when he's going to feel comfortable enough with what he's got.
It's always like two different phases to the looting. There's early game looting in some of the early areas, and then there's setting yourself up for the end game. And ndoto has absolutely done a lot of early game looting at this point in time. He's cleared out more of the Watery Pass. He's cleared out all of the Damsian Basement. He's cleared out the Troya Pauper's Treasury. He is now clearing out Ordeals. None of the individual spots, I would say, are unusual or unique. But doing all of them, yeah, that can absolutely make it seem like you're looting more than the average person. So something to keep track of as the seed continues. If it ends up being a close race, and that looting ends up making a difference down the line, we'll see. I've not seen the gear to really show too much of a difference, although Heroine Robe is going online right now from the looks of it.
Yeah, but at the same time, definitely a testament to just how efficient ndoto has been about the looting. Getting in there quick, getting out, not wasting too much time. ndoto does have one less check than FieryBlizzard. FieryBlizzard has gone over to Troya to get the free item from Edward. ndoto hasn't done that, but other than that, ndoto right behind FieryBlizzard here on Mount Ordeal, so that looting hasn't put him too far behind.
Meanwhile, Kane casting white with that white spear. Looks like he's going to try to set up for something a little bit different there.
Yeah, not too happy with his current power level, so is going to use those sirens that is given at the beginning of the seed to great effect here. This is one of the highest value XP encounters available in the early game. This two Lilith setup here. And that white spear can be put to great effect because they are weak to holy. So, unfortunately, can't do the life glitch as Yang just demonstrated there because they are undead. They don't get lifed from the life potions, but even still, very, very good XP here, assuming you can keep everybody alive.
Yeah, it looks like it's set up. He also looks like he's been trying to keep Tella from getting too much experience, which is, a nice strategy, and I certainly appreciate it, but not. I wouldn't say it's necessary this early. Maybe later on, knock him down, but the priority is getting everything knocked over first.
Yeah, I think the concern is that I don't think either runner, honestly, has come across a cursed ring yet. So there's always that lingering thing in the back of your mind. I really don't want to get too many levels on Tella here if I want him to be my anchor. And so that's probably what's weighing on him there with trying to keep Tella down. But yeah, I agree. Late game, that definitely becomes a concern. You definitely want Tella to be on the floor.
At this point, the only difference between our two parties, between FieryBlizzard and ndoto, is FieryBlizzard says, yes, I will take that Palom. And ndoto has said, no, I want to keep my Rydia. Rydia is, this is an interesting contrast. Rydia can be very powerful, especially if you get an early game summon. That Odin, for example, is fantastic against something like the Dark Imps right now. However, we haven't really found a whole lot of otherwise kind of standard power for Rydia that we expect to find an early Leviathan or Bahamut summon, for example. Meanwhile, Quake Kid, Palom unlocks Quake very early in the early, I think level 24 is what it is. So something that's relatively easy to get before you get into the underground. And as soon as he has Quake, it becomes kind of game over and everyone's very, very quickly getting through that. So worth noting, between these two runners, neither of them have their Black Mages fully online yet, but both are close.
Yeah, and just to add on what you mentioned about Rydia, beyond just Bahamut and Leviathan, Sylph, which is usually pretty commonly available in this flag set, can do wonders going down a particularly hard hook route, because not only does it do decent damage, it also does phenomenal healing. And that can be really useful, especially if you're relying on Rosa for a lot of your damage. You can keep that Heroine robe on her, keep that Artemis bow, and then you don't have Rosa healing better doing damage, and Rydia can handle your Rat Tail there, that's going to combo with those the Pink Tail we've already got, and the hook for a pretty profitable cave, Adamant Cave.
FieryBlizzard is having, I think, one of the worst bit runs of luck I think I've ever seen for a Calbrenna fight. First of all, he gets fantastic luck, and Tella's recall cast weak on the rest of the back row party. However, runs out of time, and then all of Calbrenna just one doll turns into the Calbrenna, and then now it resets out to the full fight. This is after he resets out of the fight that he had already beaten in order to gain some levels. So this is going to be one of those positions where Fiery is going to feel behind after he completes this fight, and there's no avoiding that particular feeling as a runner as you get through. Once he gets through, you might see him make some riskier plays, some kind of out of the ordinary, unorthodox plays, just because when you feel behind, that's what you got to do to stay in.
Yeah, absolutely. Can take some solace in that, having to kill all these dolls multiple times, will get a little bit more experience for his troubles. But yeah, running into this kind of problem on Calbrenna is just so frustrating.
Right, meanwhile, ndoto does finish and is going to be doing some of the other cleaning up that we've already seen Fiery do in terms of checking some of these other bosses, making sure, again, it's a boss hunt, so checking the bosses that don't normally lead to any sort of key items is traditionally a pretty smart play to make, at least in Highway to the Zemus Zone 5.
Gosh, yeah, another reset there by FieryBlizzard, just having so much trouble. Excuse me, no, never mind. I didn't reset that time. Got through Calbrenna that time, so I'm gonna move on to the Dark Imps, and should be through this relatively quickly.
That kind of hurts. I appreciate wanting to get through this particular fight safely, but using an hourglass this early on a boss fight that traditionally you would think you would have the firepower for doesn't feel good. You don't feel good about burning that when there's a whole lot of other uses you could have for that particular hourglass. But I think he just feels like he's got to get through it as quickly as he can.
Yeah, completely understandable. Wow. Big news over in Adamant Cave. That is a Baron key, so we can stay on the stay above ground for a little bit longer. We know one of the bosses isn't going to pay off, but still, Baron key is Baron Castle is a huge check on this flag set. And then Pinktail turning into an Avenger. We got Kane in the party. Kane's going to enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, we thought the White Spear was nice and can get you through it. Avenger Kane is even nicer. You put that on it, and you just like you put him in the top row, and you say, "Kane, go wreck everything." And it's the closest thing that you can really get to Kane being just automatic.
Yeah, not to mention you can take advantage of that Avenger glitch and carry over the properties of the White Spear. So if you need that holy damage, just have that White Spear equipped, change mid-battle to the Avenger, and the Berserk actually takes effect before his weapon updates. So he'll just constantly be using the stats of the White Spear with the auto Berserk of the Avenger. So it's best of both worlds.
All right. Meanwhile, ndoto is going over to do Baron in. I like this play. It's going to combo very well. Avenger. Baron into Baron Castle as well. I would think. And which set of guards is this? Is it? Yes.
It is the correct guards. So not only does this mean we're going to have this keyed off, but now ndoto is going to have that knowledge where if he sees that blue and yellow sprite again, he knows it is not the guards that he's looking for. So this is big news.
Really trying to focus damage on that officer right now. Not only if you kill the officer, all the three of the soldiers will just attack. The interesting thing is that the traditional strategy for that in particular... Oh, Toad, get off. Nice. Usually you try to get a life glitch off on the officer because he holds most of the experience in his particular sprite. No experience at this particular spot, so just kind of get through it. Just kill this as quick as you can.
Yep, just get right on through it. Big question for chat, though. I see we're talking about slow cooker Kane or barbecue rotisserie. If we do that with Kane, do we have to use the high altitude instructions?
I mean, I wouldn't think so, because even when you're jumping up into the sky, there is a ceiling, especially once we get into the underworld. So you're not using high altitude instructions. You're just using third floor apartment instructions, maybe.
I don't think you want Kane to hear you say that his jump height is that limited. Oh, hey, Darkness Crystal, back in the actual game that's happening. That's big.
That is big, particularly because we have a Tella. That does unlock what is kind of I wouldn't say common, but certainly an interesting play early game in the D machine grind. It unlocks our access to the Giant of Babel, which we can set up to do the D machine grind. We don't have anyone kind of slingshot eligible right at the moment unless we go and switch characters out. But that's certainly viable if we just want to get our grind out of the way and check at least one, if not two, boss locations while we're at it. I don't know. 21 minutes, we haven't gone underground yet. What's your thoughts about doing a D-Money grind right now?
I mean, I have traditionally not been a huge fan of the D-Money grind. It's effective. And we do have two pretty good slingshot targets in Rydia and or Hallam. It's not something we see very often in Blue Moon, just because of the usual ready supply of sirens once you get underground. But we're not guaranteed those, and we don't have edge, so we can't steal them. There's a chance the sirens don't show up. I keep it in my back pocket, but I think I still keep doing checks right now, as at least up until the hook route before I make that decision.
Yeah, it's a hard decision to make right now. And I like that ndoto is at least deferring the decision until after he is done Baron, because really it comes down to how comfortable you are with your party having to do anything in terms of going underground. We don't have a ton of equipment, and ndoto has kind of stopped his looting up to this point in time, or at least stopped all the traditional looting that has been done. The FieryBlizzard is kind of in the same spot. So yeah, it's a tough call. Maybe I would do it, maybe I wouldn't, but particularly it's an interesting question when it's in an elimination match like we have tonight.
Yeah. Like right now, we fought Evil Wall already, and he's maybe one of the biggest roadblocks going down a hook route. There's still plenty of things that can that can be nasty down there. We've also already seen Rubicante on his own, who can also be really bad if he's blocking the hook. So, I mean, I'm not feeling horrible about how potentially hard this hook route is, if, you know, I have the knowledge that ndoto has right now. So, you know, I might feel confident enough to head down the hook route and maybe avoid that lengthy grind.
In the meantime, we have D-Lunars. These are interesting as well, in the sense that, you know, we have Tello who can cast Fire 3, we have a White Lance, Kane can jump, we have Yang who can, you know, focus, so they should be relatively straightforward to get through, but that doesn't make them any less annoying, especially with these fire casts.
Yeah, the one good thing about that is that it's HP based, but then that kind of bites Yang in the butt, because he actually gets punished for having high HP here. He's a little harder to heal, but should be able to... Ooh, getting a little dicey. There's the jump. I don't know.
Oh, well, I mean, Rydia is casting Cure 1. Okay.
Yeah, you know you're in a little bit of an emergency when Rydia busts out the Cure 1. But I think, yeah, okay, Kane gets off another jump. Should be good at this point. This should be enough to kill. And getting Rosa up so Rosa can benefit from the XP.
Look at that, 190 HP.
There we go.
That was what we call a not fun fight. That's when you're cussing at yourself like, come on, just die. And
FieryBlizzard, having to go back. I thought FieryBlizzard had already picked up the hook. Did he have to reset at some point that canceled that out?
I think you flipped them. ndoto had gone and done the Edward checks.
You're right.
And had looted out the Pauper's treasury at the same time that he had
done
that,
you are absolutely correct, and most importantly, I'm wrong.
I want to mark this occasion on the calendar. If I could have the Restream team, please make note of the time and date that Smapety said that I was right and he was wrong. I just
if you're gonna
this needs to be put on the calendar.
If you're gonna mark down the dates where Smapety is wrong on a calendar, I hope you have a very, very long. I hope you have a day-by-day calendar. I hope it's not one of those monthly things. You're going to run out of space on that.
It's not so much anything where you admit that you're wrong. It's when you admit that I'm right and you're wrong.
Fair enough. Okay.
That doesn't happen too frequently.
That's true. That'll just be every time we commentate together. Oh, hey, a little vanilla in here.
Little sprinkle of vanilla. All right, Oscar, you got your first vanilla badge for the night. We have Kent Yatsuzo, which is certainly an interesting boss fight here. Certainly doable with the particular party setup we have. We do have a Thunderclaw from Yang here, who I just realized that, I mean, I saw Celeste earlier, and I just realized that everyone's named after Final Fantasy VI characters, so, mwah, ndoto, fantastico.
And Fiery is raising the whale. Could Fiery be thinking about what we were talking about earlier with that early D-Money grind?
That feels like it's it. Like, I might go up and check the shop on the moon first, just in case the odd siren is there, because that does save you a much time. That is just like a much faster grind, full stop. But if not, Hey, might as well.
And we're busting out the Chocobo summon here, just reaching deep into your bag of tricks to get any use out of Rydia right now. Thank you, Asuka.
Asuka, this is why I love you, heart. Thank you. Meanwhile, yeah, FieryBlizzard is switching out. Swapped his cane with that White Lance and Avenger and says, no, I want to slingshot Iridia. Wow. FieryBlizzard is absolutely setting up for Mage strats and going to be setting up for this. This is really a very interesting call and is going to make all the difference in this race.
Yeah, I cannot believe that I am saying this about a D-Money grind, but I love this. We're the only thing I'm worried about, I see he has 5 Ether 2s. I'm a little worried that might not be enough.
Well,
but if worse comes to worse, I guess you can just psych one of your other party members.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. I think we're in good shape, all things said. I tend to like this particular play. It's very aggressive. And it's worth noting that ndoto up to this point in time he will be making more checks as FieryBlizzard goes through and is setting up the Steam Machine grind, completing it. It's about a 15 to 20 minute grind all told. ndoto, we saw, Rydia was casting Chocobo on Kenyaso, and I'm going to call that a less than optimal efficient play, per se. That's not great damage per second going out there. Doing something like doing the grind and then just being able to blaze through all of the bosses later, it's investing the time in the grind so that you can blow through everything as quickly as you can with your levels a little bit later. So
I think it's time for everyone's favorite game.
Great! Wow! Okay. All right, so we have another Avenger: Runax, Power, Strength, Stardust Rod, Zeus Rod. Okay.
Yeah, the last 3 were the big 3 for me: the Stardust Rod, the Zeus Gauntlet, and the Life Staff. That made that treasury right there.
I mean, it's very good. I think it's going to end up being better for ndoto because his party is currently set up to be more melee oriented. Yeah, you got your Yang, but you still got your Kane with another Avenger. Yeah, we don't need to, but we like to. We can sword chuck some yo.
Kane just needs to talk to Edge about dual wielding lessons. Though the Avenger's two-handed, isn't it? Well, that's not going to stop Kane.
Just attach a rope to him.
Yeah.
Just swing it around.
Sword chucks yo, yeah. So yeah, big divergence here. We've got ndoto going on following the paths we've been given, which is a significant amount of time in the overworld here with the key items we've been given, while FieryBlizzard is going all in on this Mage strat through D-Machine grind.
I like the commitment that FieryBlizzard is making to this particular play. I mean, I think he's set up well. We'll see exactly how it's set up. Saving. He's certainly set up. I think he's using the chart that I think Twisted Flax was the one of the members of the community that set up, kind of allowing us to manipulate the RNG table so that we could be guaranteed the exact fight that we're looking for on the Giant, and this is the fight right here.
Yeah, you saw him turning on the encounters outside to sort of set this up. That's kind of one of the newer strategies that was sort of developed when there were restrictions put into place to sort of curb the D-Machine grind. People found ways around that because you can never tell a speedrunner they can't do something. But yeah, setting that up here, when we whack that searcher, we should see a D-Machine come out of it, and FieryBlizzard will be into their grind.
Meanwhile, ndoto is setting up, preparing for these fights coming up. We're at some pretty decent levels. I saw, high teens, low 20s, which is not only acceptable, but very doable for the Tower of Zot right here, particularly with the equipment that we have. So this ought to be very quick. Worth noting, even through it all, okay, well, you know, it's Octomom, so we'll get through it.
Yep, just got to quickly throw some attacks out here and get that agility taken care of here. Already 2 quick attacks. And there's the third. That should be our first set of tentacles. And now Rydia's has something to do with that Stardust Rod. Using that as an item does pretty good damage at this stage in the game.
Yeah, it's not fantastic damage. It's not over 1,000, but it's serviceable. It's not nothing. I think the bigger cost is just it's a long cast more than anything.
Yeah, definitely is a long cast, but if we run into multi-target fights, it is spready. It does not spread its damage. It's full damage to everything, so that's pretty useful.
Something worth keeping track of, I think, is already getting both the Baron Key and the Earth Crystal done and out of the way. Those are 2 key items that traditionally lock away, 2 bosses. All the other key items that lock away bosses, the Twin Harp, the Package, the Tower Key, Luca Key, just only lock 1 boss, which means that crystal there for the darkness, I mean, that's really when it unlocks the 8 bosses that are up on the moon. We have almost everything unlocked, so it's just a matter of just face checking everything at this point once we have our levels.
Yeah, you're very, very right there. We're guaranteed to get 7 out of the 8 bosses we need with the kind of setup. So yeah, very, very face checkable moon. And there's a Sura there, so that we know that that's in the gold best spot. So we know that Dwarf Castle is going to have value.
Oh, and FieryBlizzard is having to reset out of the D machine grind. Not set up. I mean, it looked like Tella took an errant death, so that has to reset everything up. That's the problem. The D money grind is not free. Eggs are very, very easy. You crack them. You have to do just about 1,900 damage, and they're good. Even the King Ryu fights, as long as you have a way of getting through it quickly, is fine. D money is a slog because it is very precise. You have to be kind of patient. You can't miss on a lot of different things, and it's very easy to mess up and get yourself in a position where you're going to waste a lot of time. And that's unfortunately what I think happened to FieryBlizzard there. I think a character missed an attack and ended up swinging, or something happened to the point where everything got off script, and then Tella died. And once Tella's dead, he will continue to cast fire, and the script just won't let you bring him back up.
Yeah, if things go awry during a D-money grind, it can be extremely difficult to recover from. I have wiped to many a grind in the past, so it is definitely something that happens. It is one of the risks you got to take into consideration, and unfortunately for FieryBlizzard, that's going to be a substantial amount of time lost.
I think at this point in time, FieryBlizzard recognizes it and says, okay, he turned random encounters on and is now just walking his way to the save point, hoping to save. I think that's the right one right there. The problem, okay, we'll see it anyway. We'll see him get everything set up, but already a bit of a loss of time on Fiery's side.
Yep, meanwhile, ndoto is through the French Vanilla Magus Sisters. We're going to see what we are rewarded with here in from Zot. And how about a third Avenger?
Insert Oprah meme here. You get an Avenger! Everyone gets an Avenger! Ah!
I think we all know what Asuka's favorite sword is now.
I want everyone, in chat right now, just check under your seats. Make sure there's not an Avenger, just, under your seat, just as a prize.
we are getting a check of the Odin spot here before heading underground. Good play here by ndoto, wanting to get that knowledge. Or potentially even fight through it if it's something easy enough. It's probably not easy.
Probably not easy, probably not free, probably not worth it.
The one frame reset there by ndoto as soon as the Nope Noodle pops up. No, don't blame him whatsoever. And it looks like we're going to finish up the checks on the overworld here before heading underground. Oh, ha ha ha!
You must be joking.
So Golbek just sitting around at the first boss of the game here, Mist Dragon spot.
This is interesting.
Here for a while. There we go.
Sitting here twiddling our thumbs like, come on, Golby, come on, dude. Hurry up, Cass. We got bosses to kill, man.
It took him a while to get up to this cave, so he's got to catch his breath.
It's interesting to me that we are at 38 minutes. We have not yet even set foot into the entire Eblin continent, let alone into the cave itself. We're at 38 minutes, and yet this is still our first boss check into the Mist Cave for any of our runners. This has been traditionally a very early check.
Yeah, this has been a little bit of an unusual seed. It's been really, really interesting to watch. I mean, we've got a sub 40-minute D machine grind in the Blue Moon, which is a little bit unheard of, and 3 Avengers. It's been fun. It's been definitely fun. And quick kill by Rosa. Another objective down for ndoto. And gosh, if this waterfall has another boss, that'll be something.
Yeah, we haven't checked the waterfall boss yet, have we? My goodness.
We've had the gas to the floor. Haven't had a time to check all these off bosses here.
Dark Knight.
Oh my goodness, you are kidding me. Now, this is a seed. This is a seed.
This is something where, if you got the Darkness Crystal and immediately did a D Machine grind and immediately went to the moon to face check anything, it probably wasn't a good play. We'll put it in that perspective, simply because of how many things have been available on the moon that we just haven't even checked up to this point in time.
And no kidding. Going into the hook route with 4 bosses down and moon access, this is something.
Well, and I think the key thing to keep in mind, it's not only 4 bosses down and moon access, but 4 bosses down and many of the gated locations that you want to check also already checked in the Earth Crystal and the Baron Key as well. Like at this point, you face check the bosses that you have to check. Like you check Dwarf, you check the Fey March, you kind of face check the top of tower on your way down, and then you go to the moon, because at that point you're just like, okay, I'm good, I'm done.
Yeah, but first you got to get in the 41-minute Fabul check.
What is this flag set? Asuka and okay,
no
at least
way. No. Okay.
Water hag. Okay.
Just one of them. A desk was about to get flipped.
One of those situations like, Asuka, why don't you roll these seats for me when I'm racing? Come on.
Welcome everybody from RPG Limit Break. We have got one heck of a race here. As you can see, we already have somebody doing a D Machine grind here at 40 minutes. 4 out of 7 bosses on the other side. This has been a lot available very, very early so far.
Absolutely. We have a bit of divergence. ndoto is opting to continue to check everything. We have not yet been to the underground despite our 42-minute mark, and we're just now doing Fabul, in part because we've had Earth Crystal, Baron Key, everything like that. Meanwhile, we also have the Darkness Crystal available early, and FieryBlizzard is doing a D-Machine grind right at the moment, which just is kind of crazy, to be perfectly honest. Slowly working his way through there.
Yeah, and I think ndoto has exhausted everything, and unless ndoto wants to make a giant or moon play here, the hook route is going to be the next route here. Or the next play. Oh, goodness gracious. FieryBlizzard having to reset out of that grind again.
Yeah, it looks like things kind of got a little bit off script again. Tried to kill the D-Machine with a lit 1 that wasn't, it only does 1 damage, so it will not even kill even after it's been cast on weak. And now FieryBlizzard says, I can't waste any more time. I have to make a dive. So despite everything that is available up on the blue planet so far, remember, we know Golbez is at Mist Cave. We know that there's still some other checks. We know where Baron Key and Earth Key is. Cecil is also at Watery Pass. So doing all of Baron and Earth, while good checks, officially a time loss. So if Fiery can somehow dodge those, he still has a chance right now. But ndoto is definitely set up in a much better position right now, having done all those, gotten the levels from all of that, versus FieryBlizzard here.
Yeah, and I don't blame FieryBlizzard one bit for going immediately to Evelyn here. When you're this... well, actually, no. Backing out of Evelyn here might have just been going there for the shop check, and yeah, it looks like he's going to be doing some shopping here in the overworld. Or no, switching out characters. He might be switching back to characters he wants to use now that he's kind of put the D-Machine grind behind him.
Yeah, if you're like, okay, well, that didn't end up working. Having that Kane with. He still has an Excalibur, has an Avenger. Certainly can't hurt. Was that just a casual power shirt that ndoto opened up in that treasure chest?
I believe so.
Asuka, you're being too nice to the runners again.
Well, let's see what's guarding this hook route. There could be some nastiness there. Well, we know that's Elements. If that was Rubicante himself, that could be rough. But we know that this is actually the Element, so not too bad.
No, in particular with the party that we have, I think we have a Fire Claw somewhere. We know we have at least some elemental damage with Young available somewhere. Meanwhile, Hourglasses and FieryBlizzard now joining ndoto, again, about 5 levels behind ndoto at this point in time, just because Earth Crystal, Baron Key, even the Mist Cave and the Watery Pass boss, which are required at this point in time, and then Fabul, like, with all of that, there's a significant level difference between our two runners right now.
Yeah, and we just happen to know that FieryBlizzard is leaving so much value on the table here in the overworld, and that's just unfortunately a symptom of the issues with that D-Machine grind. Just knowing you have to make progress, and unfortunately, there's just a lot of progress here on the overworld.
In the meantime, so we have dueling Mad Ogre fights at this point in time, although we have them stopped at this point. I'm a little bit curious why we aren't seeing Avenger Kane just kind of go to town.
I gotta think, because I think they have access to the Rune Axe. The idea might be taking advantage of that Mage type weakness. But Tasia, I want to see a 4th Avenger here on this treasure screen so much.
Why? I mean, that's fun, and we can dual wield Avenger Chucks. But okay, I'll take a white shirt.
Extremely useful white shirt.
And we don't like usefulness. We like memes in this community, Bart.
So yeah, once we want to move Rosa out of archery, that white shirt's going to be fantastic for her to transition into an endgame white mage. So Rosa's set for this seed. She's got a life staff to go along with that.
You know, with the party setup that ndoto has, I'm not so sure I want to take Rosa out of that particular spot. I might be comfortable having Rosa be a 3rd Zerker and using an Asura spell to be my white mage for Zeromus.
I mean, I also love memes, so would love to do that. But no, you're not wrong. Like, that's a substantial amount of damage, and like I would be tempted to do it too, depending on how strong I felt going into the endgame fight and how much HP I ended up with Rydia on Rydia at the end. But yeah, that is definitely a possibility. Oh my goodness! We've got more bosses!
So this is boss number 5.
I do not think I have ever seen the Alt Gauntlet at this spot before.
It's a fun Alt Gauntlet right here. You get a couple eggs, one to start, one to finish. I think the most important thing is it still gives experience, whereas any other fight won't give you experience at this. So this is actually a bit of a blessing for FieryBlizzard. I think ndoto is going to be able to get through the fight much, much faster, but because it's a required fight, it's going to let FieryBlizzard kind of catch up a little bit in terms of the overall power level that you might be experiencing.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. This fight's going to be way more beneficial for FieryBlizzard than it is for ndoto. For ndoto, it's a speed bump. For FieryBlizzard, it's an opportunity. So this is good. This is going to help keep FieryBlizzard in this race. And ndoto already thinking long term, getting Tella knocked out so that he's not going to reap any of the benefits of the XP here. And the Mad Ogre's showing off their incredible magic defense there, taking only 1 damage from Palam's virus. But oh goodness, little bit of a problem here for FieryBlizzard. Gets a life off. Hopefully he can hang on here. Not doing a lot of damage to that Palam. I think he's got a Protect Ring or something on. Rosa gets the Mad Ogre down. She's just got to survive this Lamia now. And oh no, takes too big a punch. And FieryBlizzard is going to have to reset. That is heartbreaking.
It's a rough spot to be in. So now, okay, take some time. You know what's coming. Set up for it. One of those, I think, sayings from, in my old days, been running randomizers for as long as I have. I would say, the worst sort of time loss you can do is when you're over rushing yourself, when you feel like you've sped up. That's when mistakes happen, when you feel like you're behind and you have to kind of rush. That's when the worst time loss happens. So just take a breath, take your time. Yeah, you may have lost a little bit of time, but you will lose more time if you try to go too fast and hurry through things. So just breathe, Fiery. It's okay.
Yeah, right you are. I have been in fiery spots so many times before. Just, nothing seems to be going right. I'm just getting more and more frustrated, and that just leads to more and more mistakes. So, been there, completely understand the situation Fiery is in. So let's hope that Fire manages to, get this together and storm back here in the seed.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the screen, ndoto does get through the Alt Gauntlet fight, so 5 bosses down for him. And I think wisely opting is like, yeah, let's safety save. I don't want to have to go through that again, just in case.
Yeah, not a tremendously difficult fight with the elements there, but no use being cavalier about it. That is a long fight to have to redo if something goes wrong.
All right, getting saved and set up. Meanwhile, Fiery in a much better spot. Quake Kid is even online, so... Oh yeah, the balloons float.
Yeah, they don't have that floating animation, but they do have the floating tag, so... Learning that the hard way. That's one of the fun things about the All Gauntlet, is you learn something fun about these random encounters every time. And by fun, I mean usually disappointing.
All right, so right now, ndoto is slowly working his way, starting with the element spot, Kane jumping and casting Fire 3 on Tella. I think, yeah, wanting to wait to make sure this fire element hits on Mylan and not, of course, on Ruby, the next one.
Yep, does that big damage, gets the phase transition. It's probably do the same thing with the with an Ice 3. And it looks like we're having an Avenger swap here. So Avenger Kane online.
Yep, I like this. I think Avenger Kane probably should have... Oh, and by the way, Thunderclaw Yang tends to do a little bit of work there as well.
You do indeed love to see it. And down go the elements. And ndoto is through and into the underworld just under an hour, while FieryBlizzard is through the Alt Gauntlet and is up against his fight with the elements. Going to go save as well, and don't blame him one bit.
No, not even remotely. I certainly appreciate this. In the meantime, ndoto, it feels weird to say, but 5 bosses down at 54 minutes going into the Underworld, and the first runner into the Underworld at 54, almost 55 minutes. Certainly not what we expected from this seed, but it's been a very unusual seed.
Yeah, not to mention you've got the intel that there's a 6th boss waiting for you in Dwarf Castle, so, I mean, if I'm in ndoto spot, I'm booking it there ASAP. Does get the peek at the top of the tower. It is that guard sprite. We already have the guards down, so we know that that's the Baron guards. Not interested in that, so tower not going to be a particularly interesting spot right now.
At this point, it's like you do Dwarf Castle. You probably check for sirens somewhere. Go ahead and check the Fey March while you're there, and then it's go to the moon for bosses, isn't it?
Oh, wouldn't it be lovely if the last 2 bosses are in the Fey March? It's like, oh, it's been easy up to now, hasn't it?
Like, here, take a Mylan and a Volvalis just immediately right there in Fey March and deal with it.
And I still think we are cursed ringless. I haven't seen one in a shop, and I don't think either runner has picked one up.
And not up to this point in time. I think we want to. And, wow, even... See, I think ndoto is setting up for Rosa to be melee as well. Even buying her... a ninja hat. All of the melee characters up to this point have had it. Cheeky Fireclaw there as well.
Yeah, Warrior Princess Rosa strats. I'm a fan. I'm really digging ndoto's long-term plan here. Hey, Leviathan Rydia online now can do some work here, especially if we run into any of those multi-target fights. And flush with cash with all those Avengers, ndoto easily able to purchase that.
Why'd we sell all the Avengers? I wanted to make them into sword chucks.
FieryBlizzard having to take a reset on the elements fight, and yeah, just having a real rough time with this hook route. It's not the easiest, especially when you're at a substantially lower level here.
Yeah, I mean it's doable, but it's something that you do kind of have to like be patient for and work through. We saw ndoto opt not to use actions with some of his characters, being patient, letting Tella get that Fire 3 off. I think Fiery realistically needs to be setting something like that up, but his Tella has been dead for most of the time, so and not equipped very well, so not terribly well set up. Seriously, is this really?
I have no words. Which one is it? Which one is it? It is!
What my...
What a seed! Oscar, where did you need to be tonight? Like, we could have just subbed you out if you needed to be, if you had other plans.
The Oscar had other plans, and then we got jebaited into doing things like Earth Crystal and Baron Key, and all over everywhere else. The unfortunate part is we don't have the pass early,
right?
So we still have a lunar walk.
Exactly. Yeah, I've got to take that walk. But how interesting is it that we get the darkness crystal so early, and the moon is entirely haunted? Like, I guess there's still the potential that Volvalis is up there, but entirely unnecessary.
That's rando's gonna rando, and
it is indeed.
That's the key, and that's what is so great about free enterprise and randomizer runs in general. Like, things like this happen every now and then. If you played this seed back and knew where everything was, you could probably get through this seed in like 40 minutes. Something ridiculous.
Yeah, this has been great because it's been a seed that's given you a lot of options to play unorthodox, and then entirely rewards you for playing it straight.
All right, so ndoto, first runner in go mode, sub 1 hour. Congratulations. I don't know if we would have called that like 30 minutes ago, but congratulations.
Yeah, and honestly, nowhere close to... Well, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If both of these hit on key items, that is actually 10 key items for ndoto.
What do you do? Do you start walking out of the room, and if it's not a key item, be like, well...
Oh,
I get 10.
I absolutely warp because it could be the pass.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Table, yeah.
Magma!
Now we can get underground! And dope. That is just 9 key items. We got to look for sirens anyway. We could still hit and say the Feymarch chest and make that grind a little shorter that way.
You know what? I think I do that just because you are looking for sirens, unless sirens are here.
They are not. Hourglasses are, which can be useful for a grind. Bacchuses would also be incredibly useful for this team. There's a number of things we're looking for here on the underground. And gosh, yeah, the struggling just continues here for FieryBlizzard, having so much trouble getting through that elements fight at this low level.
I think everyone, the race isn't over yet, but I'm trying to will FieryBlizzard, like, give him all of my hope and love and be like, come on, you can do it. You can do it, Fiery.
Yeah, it's just such a rut to be in, after you've already had to abandon a lengthy grind because it didn't work out, and then go in, knowing you've got to, like, floor it. So you just head right underground and then just getting stonewalled there. I've been there, and it's rough, and it takes a big toll on you mentally. So huge props to FieryBlizzard for keeping going and sticking this out and putting up the best race he can here.
In the meantime, ndoto on the hunt.
Yep, head into the Fame Arch here. Good idea. Check for that shop. See if we've got those sirens, those Bacchuses, and you get a free key item here as well that could either get you to 10 or be that pass that you need.
In the meantime, we did not check the shop that was on the moon, right? We've made a trip through the whale, but we've not yet checked that shop, correct?
Correct. I don't think anyone has actually been to the moon, so yeah, we have not checked the Hummingway abode.
And there it is. There's 10 key items. Do we want to check the package?
I mean, if you just absolutely want to find every boss, maybe, but no, I don't think there'll be any package checking. Meanwhile, FieryBlizzard gets through the fight. Big props to FieryBlizzard. Gets through and is into the underworld, and the seed opens up.
Yeah, and it's a relatively straightforward. We know he's got to do Dwarf, and then he's got to go do Mist Cave and Watery Pass, and that's it. That's all the grind you need, or you're done.
Yeah, no, not a lot of searching required. Everything, now that we've got through that hook route, everything FieryBlizzard needs to do to finish this seed is on the table for him. Just needs to make the right checks.
With those hourglasses that ndoto bought, I think he's also planning on doing a King Ryu grind, more than likely. Certainly, lots of experience can be gotten, especially if you're doing the life glitch to kind of ramp up the total experience count. However, unless you're planning on casting weak with Tella, it can be kind of a slower grind. I think in order to make it more efficient than an egg grind, you kind of have to get through one fight a minute through it all, and kind of pushing it with the party that we have right now.
Yeah, you can always revive Tella to cast weak and then knock him out, but that becomes kind of a pain. If we had a Dragoon Lance, it would be substantially faster because we'd get that type damage. But unfortunately, of all the great weaponry we found for Kain, Dragoon Lance has not been one of them. So yeah, you're right. That I'm a huge fan of the Gold Dragon grind, but you're right. This is not exactly the most optimal party to be doing it with.
Meanwhile, FieryBlizzard is set up, and he's going to be checking over here, finds a package. It'll be real interesting to see what FieryBlizzard ends up deciding to do with that package. Is going to find the sirens here. So now he knows, like, okay, you don't have to go back. No more D-money grind. You're fine. You're safe.
Oh gosh, if Avalis is waiting here in the Fame Arch, I hope FieryBlizzard doesn't get baited into it. Let's hope that she is far and away somewhere else.
Hey, it's out of Sura if we want Rydia to be a healer.
I mean, we might still. Rose is a substantial amount of damage with that Artemis bow.
Yeah, the problem is ndoto didn't open that. Of all the treasure chests that ndoto opened, that wasn't one of them. So... Fiery going ahead and taking this plague? So taking this particular plague fight, typically what you can do is if you get 3 berserkers up against plague, then you kind of fill up the queue to the point where none of your characters are going to die. So it does behoove you, if you have 3 characters who are capable of doing berserk damage, just zerk up 3 and you're safe. No one's going to die. Meanwhile, ndoto is on his way through the lunar subterrane, set up. I think this is where the grind. Oh no, just gonna go immediately and save first. Okay. And I think Commander Leonhardt makes a good point in chat. Feels behind, taking something that ndoto would skip, and I think that's accurate. At this point in time, when you're behind, you do feel like you have to do something that your opponent hasn't done, and that's really the key to most randomizer races, is doing something that your opponent hasn't done. So for now, I get it. Unfortunately, it's not going to end up working out for him. It's the correct play to make when you feel as Fiery did with the early plays. Unfortunately, it's not going to end up working out. ndoto, meanwhile, I did see Rydia did get some extra summons as we went through the Dwarf Castle. One of those summons was Asura. So we are activated for 3rd best white mage for 2/3 of the time, if we so desire. And Fiery is rewarded with the pan, which, okay, is going to divert him even further. Again, I still get it. Absolutely. Meanwhile, ndoto still doing his grind. Will be doing the grind for a little bit. So, going to focus over here on FieryBlizzard. Walking through the Sylph Cave. We'll be bonking our party member in the head with a pan, which isn't rude at all, I promise you. Alright, so pan smack, thank you, wake up from the nap. And the Sylphs gift us with a tower key. This is worst case scenario, unfortunately for FieryBlizzard, because it feels like it's a good play right now, because that's another key item check that you're like, yes, I want to be able to do that. Let me go ahead and turn in everything else, but unfortunately we know it's not. This is not going to turn out well for Fiery, unfortunately. Right. Meanwhile, ndoto is through another grind, or partway through.
Yep, and Fire going to get the good news of the wealth of riches afforded by the tail turn-ins here. And yeah, just like you mentioned, just a little bit of a slog here getting through those dragons without any way to really deal with them.
Yeah, wisely, I mean, first fight, let Tella stay up. Second fight is like, no, Tella, we can't have you gaining any more levels. So, really setting up, I think, it'll be interesting to see if we want Rydia to go all the way up to nuke levels, or if we're comfortable with just having her cast Asura or other reflected strats later.
if I'm in ndoto's position right here, I've got to, I got to be wondering, if he feels ahead or behind, because he did check everything on the surface and nothing explicitly paid off. But he hasn't made really many mistakes either. Everything's been pretty relatively clean. So we're approaching hour 20 minutes and probably be in go mode by then, or excuse me, probably be at the level to fight Zeromus by then. So you got to wonder what his confidence is like. Does he think he's ahead? Does he think he's behind?
That's a great question, and that's kind of the question that every runner goes through their heads when they're at this point in the race. You're kind of, as you're, not that grinding is mindless, but it's something that, especially with the King Ryu grind, you can kind of turn your brain off a little bit, and unfortunately that's when you can kind of take a step back and start thinking, okay, what mistakes have I made? And that's when you start feeling probably really behind. I mean, we saw ndoto miss a life glitch right there a second ago, and that is probably enough to make him think, oh no, I must be behind right now. Sheila won with the pass.
Ooh, yes, indeed. That's a little spicy there. So that is definitely something ndoto passed right by because didn't have any need to. So, now not only does FieryBlizzard have everything on the board right now that he needs to finish the seed, he's got the pass to get there quickly. So that's very interesting.
It is. We'll see. Like I said, we'll see how much grinding ndoto feels like he has to do. Fiery has the path in front of him. He just has to take it. I think the issue is that when you feel behind, you end up making plays that you wouldn't normally make, and you make plays as if you were behind, and you make the small percent plays. And what we need Fiery, or what Fiery needs to do in reality, is to make the high percent plays, just do the boss checks that you would normally make, and he's done.
Oh, going back underground. That might be exactly what he's doing. Is he headed to Dwarf Castle? No, going back to the Fey March. Do you remember what we saw here?
Yes, we saw the pan, and that led us to Sheila 2, and that whole route. So
right, okay.
That was the one boss that we killed. We did not kill the other boss.
Yeah, just unfortunate. It was just one of those things where ndoto had the knowledge going down into the underground here that Asura, one of the required bosses, was just sitting there at Dwarf Castle. So that kind of became the no-brainer play when you came down and paid off with an extra boss. And FieryBlizzard just does not have that intel because it has not been to Zot yet.
Nope, and Zot was behind Baron Key, as I recall, so within his grasp, not necessarily something he has to do. We know those are 2 Zonk checks, but has eggs, so is going to be setting up a bit of a grind right now. Let's see, he's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so he's at 10 key items right now. And with ndoto still going, I gotta imagine he's trying to get ready up to nuke.
Yeah, that's got to be the plan at this point. That's a lot of XP to get her there, but then be able to do a lot of damage, be able to activate those hybrid strats. So yeah, that seems like that's the plan at this point.
Nuke.
There we go. It is time. ndoto is ready. Going to drop the save here and take the march down to the Lunar Core.
Darth Plagal, I want to let you know, I saw your Z flag a few minutes ago. I didn't want to acknowledge it quite so early because I want to recognize that it was a while ago.
We can recognize now that Darth Plagueis did have the first Z flag, not just the false start, but also for real. So congratulations, Darth. But what do those Z flags signify, Vitasia?
Oh, well, those, despite the lateness of the hour, it's almost 10 o'clock on the East Coast time, and it's kind of my bedtime, so, if we want to wrap this up, I'm cool. But that does not mean it's time for a nap. No, we are a randomizer community here in the Free Enterprise community. We like to mix up everything. We randomize the Bard song. We randomize the stone sprites. We randomize the fire sprites. The one thing we couldn't randomize is putting Zeromus, the final boss, into the rest of the boss pool, because he has special coding and special rules and a spell called Big Bang that kind of makes it really difficult to fight him anywhere else. So, what do? We still want to randomize him in some way, but we cannot put him into the boss pool. Well, when you use the crystal on him, he activates his true colors. Those true colors turns out to be one of nearly 600 different sprites curated by our very own Scala Kitty. Shout out to Scala, I see you in chat there. So, when we cast the crystal and reveal the true form of Zeromus, that Z flag really is indicating a single question that the community is asking: whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
And we're a little ahead of things because we're still at the save point. There was a lot of equipment changing to do there for ndoto, but ndoto is ready and ready to make
it out as best I could. I mean,
you did a fantastic job. Like, the only thing you could have done to stretch that any further would be to just start listing the sprites that we know of.
Which I will not do, because I do not want to spoil it for anyone who this is their first time watching.
Which actually I need to talk to Scala at some point, because now we have a new character in Final Fantasy named Zero, so we have a potential for another Zeromus. I know there's a few in there.
That's true. Oh my gosh, I didn't think about that. Okay.
We'll talk later, Scala.
Yes. But
anyway, butt time.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, the community has come up with some kind of auxiliary questions associated with whose butt are we going to kick? Does he have a butt? He, she, it have a butt? Is the butt cute? Is there a hat? Is the hat cute?
Does the hat have a butt? I'm always on team all butts are cute, though. So.
I mean, I'm right there with you in team all butts are cute, because there's, yeah. Unless, I mean, okay, but we can agree that the default Zeromus sprite does not have a butt, though, right?
I do want to point out something interesting here. We did keep Tella down to serve as an anchor, but Tella is not in that middle spot.
That's really unusual, and we'll see if it.
It is a butt. It absolutely is a butt. It's the butts. Oh, beautiful. Oh, this might be my new favorite.
You don't get the joke.
This is Larry Butts from the Ace Attorney games.
Oh, okay. So it's definitely, it definitely is Butts.
It is absolutely the Butts. But yeah, throwing out that Silk Web, gonna get the counter nuke, which is important, as that's going to nerf the first Big Bang that Buttsmas does here. And also hitting the character you want to get hit there, Tella. Tella really has nothing to offer during this fight, so using that HP to absorb that reflected nuke is exactly what you want to see. Oh yeah, that was an extremely fast Big Bang there. This might be a little bit of a problem here for ndoto.
Depends. I mean, dishing out some pretty decent damage right now.
Yeah, the damage is really good, and we're getting reflected whites and reflected nukes. Kane putting out damage with that white lance.
In Dota, okay, using a Cure 2 potion on your Young when he's the hardest hitting melee guy. No.
Well, I think Ndoto might be in full Reflect Strats mode here. Wanted to just do magic damage so that we skip any phase transition here. That might be what Ndoto's thinking at this point. Because I'm using Cure 2s on both Kayn and Yang now.
Okay, that makes more sense. Would you do me a favor, sir, and explain why the Reflect Strats can be so potent in Final Fantasy IV?
So they wanted to give Zeromus an enormous amount of HP, but the variable that stores Zeromus' HP can only go so high, and Zeromus is dead. So that was a short discussion. Anyway, you get that because you get to skip the phases, and Ndoto is here. Hi, Ndoto! We were just about to discuss why Reflect Strats are good, and then the boss died, so... Putting out exactly why Reflect Strats are good. Wow, that overworld, though, huh?
Yeah, that is a, like, the textbook of why you should always check Mist Cave and Waterfall.
Yeah, and just sort of giving you all of your multi-boss check key items right from the get-go. That sure was a sequence.
Yeah, there were a few points where I was worried about not using that Darkness Crystal as early as I got it. I thought about trying to do an early D Machine grind, but, you know, I just went where the key items were telling me to go, and that ended up being the way of it.
So what ultimately made you decide to stick around on Earth instead of going for, like, say, an early Moon or early D Machine? Was there something particular that kind of pushed you over the edge in one way or the other?
You know, I really can't say that there was. I was really torn about it, but I like trying to do as many checks as I can on the blue planet before I head to the moon. If I know that there's a lot of bosses that I haven't seen yet, I might try to peak giant before heading to the moon. But that definitely wasn't the case this time around. So it came to the point where I was like, huh, what if all the bosses are here on the blue planet? And sure enough.
Yeah, because we already, of course, because of the Zot check, we knew that Asura was sitting there in Dwarf Castle, but we laughed so hard when that purple robe appeared, too.
Yeah, it was hard required.
We noticed that in the early game, you did a substantial amount of looting. I think you even went into one of the Chocobo forests. Is this just sort of how you normally approach things with a lot of early looting, or were you just feeling a little bit on the less powerful side of this run?
I was trying to find curse rings because they always seem to elude me in shops. And, again, this ended up being a seed where I did not have one. And, that first King Ryu grind, unfortunately, the first fight, Tella just gained a little too much experience for me to be comfortable with him as an anchor anymore. So that's why I did a quick switch around at the end there.
Oh, okay, yeah, because we did notice you kind of called an audible there and put Yang in at the as the point man, so you were just more comfortable with Yang's agility than Tella's?
Yeah, Tella got up to 15, and I had no way to lower that for him, so I was like, I don't like that.
Well, definitely played out. That was kind of a textbook Z fight, so good heads up play there.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for Ndoto, Vatasia?
You know what? I'm trying to come through some questions, but I mean, the looting question was there, and the problem is that this seed just kind of laid itself out in front of you. Was there, like, walk me through how you felt with everything that was kind of laid out? Did you feel ahead? Did you feel behind? What was kind of your mindset, especially those grinds, which I know those are not necessarily easy fights to get through when you're like, come on, let this week go off, and you're like racing to get through everything. Like, what was your mindset when you're going through there?
I felt like I was behind because I spent, a little extra time looting first thing off the bat. I felt like I was behind right up until I did those Mist Cave and Waterfall checks and found those 2 bosses in a row. And then I was like, okay, maybe that's my edge here. Maybe my opponent hasn't seen those yet. And I just gotta hope that that's the case and start plowing forward.
Well, you played it beautifully, pretty more or less flawless throughout here. Like, you mentioned the thing with Tella, but outside of that, just everything worked out really well. You really handled everything the seed threw at you. It was a very, very strong showing. So you're going to be advancing here in the waning bracket. How do you feel about these matches that you have coming up?
They're definitely going to put me to the test, but I think that I've improved a lot, and I am looking forward to taking them on.
That's what I like to hear. Well, I'm super looking forward to seeing you. I believe your next match is going to be up against Raging Levine, so best of luck to you. Can't wait to watch it, and thank you so much for coming in and talk to us and putting on such a fantastic show. Congratulations on your win, and best of luck in your next match.
Thank you so much. Thank you to you guys for both commentating. Thank you for the Restream team and the tracker for doing their work and making sure that this could happen. And huge shout out to FieryBlizzard for being a wonderful opponent.
All right, thanks so much. That was ndoto, winner of tonight's match. Moving on in the Blue Moon Waning bracket with a time tonight of 122.56. So big GGs to ndoto, and a big thanks for coming in and talking to us.
In the meantime, FieryBlizzard resets out, does not see a boss that he likes, does have the Earth Crystal, has completed the Baron Key now. Oh no, don't, Fiery.
Oh gosh, I don't blame Fiery for this. There's just such a wealth of checks to be made on the moon, but yeah, when we know that those 2 bosses are just sitting in those 2 freebie spots, yeah, that just hurts. I mean, with everything Fiery has been through, you wouldn't even hold it against him for getting those spots have even been checked.
No, absolutely, and that's something that's really quite common, and I think it's happened to every runner of a randomizer race. It's some spots that maybe are not checked frequently because of the different flag sets that you play. If it's not a boss hunt, you're not checking things like the Watery Pass boss or the Mist Cave boss. And that's something unique to Zemus Zone 5 that I think a lot of us who have been runners in the community for a long time have had to kind of shake out of ourselves a little bit, knowing that the routing is different, that the priority trees are a little bit different, the decision trees that you have to make are a little bit different. So it's an unfortunate thing, but it's happened to, I think, all of us at some point in time during practice.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to get a little bit of a bonus round here. We're going to get some boss checks here on the moon. The good news for FieryBlizzard here is just has to do some face checking here. We still don't know where Volvalis is, so there still could be a little bit of value up here. Gonna have to do one of those bosses on the blue planet, though, because we need 7 out of 8, and we know 2 of them are there. So can't get go mode here, but can get some of the way there, and can definitely get some of the experience that we need for that Z fight up here as well.
Now, as I remember from the spoiler log, this particular boss holds the Twin Harp. So, whomever it is, it's... Okay, Dark Elf is holding the Twin Harp.
A little appropriate. Little thematic there. And it looks like FieryBlizzard's going to do the fight and does not want to leave a key item behind here.
I mean, when you have some, a key item behind, I mean, there's still the Luca key that he hasn't checked. I don't think we've either checked the tower key either, or the package location. All right, so the Dark Elf change, where ironically he loses the boss bit when he transforms into the Dark Elf here. Kane, of course, doing fantastic damage right now, but worth noting that he's susceptible to things like the stop spell right now.
Yeah, stop, weak, any of those things can really take him down quickly, and of course he still has that weakness to holy damage, so yeah, like you said, Kane absolutely ripping from there. And as mentioned, there is our Twin Harp.
Getting set up. Yep, getting everyone cured up right now.
Yeah, this is a good play because you can just keep that Tella down. Don't have to worry about getting him back up, getting any levels. One of the advantages that manually healing up has over using, say, like a cabin that's going to automatically res Tella. So, heads up play there. And deeper into the subterranean we go. Got to imagine we stop him by the Crystal Sword altar next, and at least face check that boss.
On the plus side, let's think about kind of the mental checklist of some of the free bosses that we haven't necessarily seen. I don't know if we've seen the two guards. We haven't seen King and Queen Evelyn. We have seen Waterhag, unfortunately. But there's at least two bosses up here that might be kind of free.
We know the two guards are at the top of tower. We did see that sprite there.
Oh, right.
Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right on the other. That's still in play.
Trying to think of anything else that might be at least reasonably free. I mean, we're powered up to the point where we have Palom casting Nuke, and the rest of the party just loaded up right now.
Yeah, even some of the harder fights aren't going to be terribly difficult. Even the sparkles, like we've already seen Ogopogo, we've seen D-Lunars, so even those aren't going to be much of a problem anymore. Wyvern could still blarg all over us. I don't like Baigen. Yeah, I agree with FieryBlizzard resetting out of Baigen. Don't like that fight at all on the moon. And since the only key item that you have left that has a boss behind it is the Luca key, you can afford to face check everything at this point within logic.
Absolutely. Now, again, reminding the audience, we know something that FieryBlizzard doesn't know, unfortunately, that two of the bosses that he's looking for, Golbez and Dark Knight Cecil, are located on the blue planet in traditionally out-of-the-way locations, but available to us from the beginning of the game in the Mist Cave for Golbez and in the Watery Pass for Dark Knight Cecil. So just skipping a couple what is otherwise standard checks has really kind of cost Fiery. Fiery did struggle a little bit early in doing things like his D-Machine grind early on. However, he's certainly made up quite a bit of time since then, but not checking those particular boss locations, I think, is costing him the most time right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's another Sparkle down. We saw the other flavor of Mylon, so one more check to go here. And with any luck, then we won't run into a Volvalis here for FieryBlizzard, and might spur him to go back and check those blue planet locations. A Volvalis would be a tough find because not an easy boss. It would take some time to get through and really wouldn't get you any headway. And there's Blarg Jr. So all in all, not a very difficult Moon as far as bosses are concerned, but 100% haunted.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, we still have our giant check, which we'll see if Fiery wants to go back to the giant. I mean, he might have some flashbacks from that and want to avoid it, honestly.
I mean, yeah, after, in any seed where I've messed up a D machine grind, and there have been plenty, the last thing I would want to do is go back to the giant.
Like, no, you can't make me. Come on, Fiery. Do you remember?
Right direction, right direction, right direction. Let's go! No, it's a package check, isn't it? No, it's not. Excellent. Great job, Fiery.
Probably 1-2 combo. He's going to get this and go, ugh.
So this is fantastic news for Fiery. Has found that Golbez. And yeah, probably as Commander Leonhardt says in chat, commence the swearing.
I mean, again, raise your right hand in chat if you've done something similar to this. I know I have. Absolutely. In this randomizer, just knowing that, hey, sometimes you forget something easy and you always feel horrible about it afterwards, but then you never forget it again.
I am actually holding both hands up right now, which is very difficult because I'm actually on push to talk, so I'm going to stop.
That's what pinky toes are for. Just press the pinky toe key.
Oh man, am I hardcore enough free enterprise commentator to get pedals for my push to talk? And the Shadow Dragon leaves. Kane hits for an unethical amount of damage because hitting that holy weakness on Golbez. And down he goes.
What is an unethical amount of damage? I'm just curious. Like,
I mean, when you're out damaging the amount of health the boss spot has by like a factor of 10 or more, I think that's when it becomes unethical.
okay,
That's when you get those overkill bonuses if this was FF10.
Okay, that overkill bonuses I think are just like a 1.5 times or something. So if we're going 10x, okay, yeah, we'll call that an unethical amount of damage. I'm fine with this.
And since we're in the area, are going to go ahead and get the package check in here. Oh, we've got the lipstick pig. This is my favorite pig variation. Rosa just dodges that quake.
Surprisingly easy. Like, once you get high enough level to get through that, it just no problem.
Actually, I'm curious. Is Quake a single attack roll or is it multi?
You're asking the wrong person. All I know is Quake do big numbers, and that's the extent that I know.
It do big numbers, and me do like, and hit all screen. These are all things that I like.
All right, so we'll see. What do we have? Are we going to be blessed with Vivalas here? It'd be nice, honestly.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it. It'd be very quick in this spot. Nope, it's Antlion. He moved over a little bit from his cave.
Here's the problem: we can't reset out of it because he didn't save after Golbez.
Yeah, but I think Antlion's not long for this world.
Imagine like being in a desert town and a scorpion type creature, just even a scorpion bug, like enters the hotel room, and you decide to burn the whole hotel down. That's just what happened with
Yeah,
Fury there.
I think that's an entirely reasonable reaction. Oh, and hey, ndoto looks like is going to give us a taste of the music we didn't get to hear. So let's all enjoy as FieryBlizzard hopefully is finishing this seat up on his end, the tunes of DJ Spoony B. And well, I hope you enjoy this music because we're about to get a reprieve of it over on FieryBlizzard screen.
I like the play. If you're still looking and you don't quite know what you're doing, say, hey, I killed a boss up on the moon. Maybe it's here.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially since the heart check has sort of fallen out of favor from the general meta just because of how much time it takes. They can't fault the play.
I mean, it's fallen out of favor from people who, like to do things like win at speed running or something. But there's those of us who are still fans.
Heck yes. Anyway, here's Crazy Calypso Part 2. And there we go. There's our second dose of Donkey Kong Country 3 there.
It
And
does look like, yeah, we are joined now by FieryBlizzard, who goes ahead and calls it a race. GG's though, FieryBlizzard. That was, kudos to you for sticking through that as long as you did.
Well, GG's to Dota for sure. I cannot give myself a GG there. That was, I don't think I've ever been tilted that hard within 5 minutes of the seed. It happens. Sometimes it happens, and you just gotta keep on rolling with it as long as you want, I guess. But
yeah, it was an incredibly bold play, going for that early D Machine grind. I really, really liked it. It was so heartbreaking that it didn't work out. But was that just your idea? Just, I want to steamroll through this right now. Were you thinking about what was sort of your thought after you got powered up? What was going to be your next play?
the Moon would have been. I would have gone for Giant and Moon, and then just on Hook route. Hook either had to be at. I don't remember if I had Hook at that time. I knew it was either Bedward or Fabul. But that early D Machine grind really shouldn't have been as difficult as it was. Young had a Thunderclaw anyways. It was just unfortunate that Rosa sort of got ahead of Tella in the first one, and then the second one, everyone jumping Tella again. It's just, it happens, but it was a lot of mistakes on that. Certainly that second one where I just continually forgot the turn order. But, what can you do sometimes? It just was not my night.
Yeah, it's so rough in those D Machine grinds when you settle in and you've got a rhythm of character turns, and then oops, somebody's lapped Tella and everything is, your comfortable rhythm is completely thrown off. I've been there so many times, so I completely feel you there. It can happen to anyone.
Yeah, that's like almost particularly painful because Radio, I think it was on 14, 7x2 at that point. I was like, okay, this should be not too bad, and then it just, once you can't get enough turns and the wrong person goes down on an accidental attack, like Tell on that first one or Rosa on that second one, it's just, you can try to salvage it, but you're not going to get the turns. But that was, that started off with dolls, and then me wanting to reset and keep that hourglass into Dark Imps, and then everything happened there. I just never really recovered from that point. But yeah, the early D Machine I think was pretty much the play, even though I messed it up, just because we had Iridia in our back pocket. Tella Darkness was early, which is exactly what I said in the race room before it started. It's like, please don't give me this. It's been like a month since I played, or a month since I've done a Team Machine. But yeah, it happens. Like, I'm upset at myself for playing that, but what can you do? Do better next time.
We can certainly understand, and we've all absolutely been there in very similar situations. So we don't want you to be too hard on yourself. Out of curiosity, did you and ndoto have any conversation about where the other boss or bosses were that you hadn't found yet?
No, I think at this point it has to be Giant Zot or Sealed Cave. At least from my end.
So Dark Knight Cecil was at Watery Pass.
Yeah, the other check that I'm not surprised. I realized that as soon as I got back up, I'm like, I never did Miss Cave or Watery Pass. I went straight for that D Machine. So yeah. Okay, well that's nice. I can tell why ndoto was nervous then, because that would have been a really fast seed with double Dwarf and double Watery Pass and Miss Cave.
Yeah, it was the kind of seed that gave you a lot of tools to play in interesting ways, but just completely rewarded strict adherence to the straight and narrow. It was a very weird seed in that case.
Yeah, that's the nature of things, but move on to another day. I'll still be around tracking, so.
Excellent. Well, glad to hear that. Can we just get any final thoughts on the tournament overall? How do you feel about it? Did you have a good time? And what's sort of your are you looking to try to compete in the next one, or what's the FieryBlizzard plan going forward?
The plan going forward, like I said, track certainly still want to be involved in the tournament, clicking those buttons. In terms of the tournament itself, I thought it was an interesting format. I generally don't like straight boss hunts. I know people do. I know it's pretty split. As for next tournaments, if I have the time, I'll join. For me right now, I'm in Final Fantasy V Career Day tournament. That's sort of where I started in terms of Final Fantasy randomizer, so probably be focusing on that. And I say focus, but I haven't done practice for that either. So it's
yeah, and that's a whole different there's a lot there. So yeah, I'll definitely have to check you out over in Career Day. That's always a lot of fun to watch. So in the meantime, yeah, thank you for all the work you do tracking. Thanks so much for participating in the tournament. It's been a blast having you. And thanks for talking to us, FieryBlizzard. It's been we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, thank you to both you and Vitasia for commentating, David for tracking, Asuka for restreaming as always. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Thanks again, and I hope to see you sort of behind the scenes.
Definitely will. Thanks so much, FieryBlizzard. Take care.
Have a good night.
Well, that is going to do it for us over here on Free Enterprise. But Vitasia, that is by no means the end of the night for competition, is it?
No, absolutely not. In fact, if you guys stay tuned, we're going to send everyone over to... I'm pulling it up right now because they just...
Free Enterprise 2.
Yeah, okay. Oh, here it is. We're sending everyone over to Free Enterprise 2. Looks like we have Reckless Charlie versus Zeke that's going on. So keep in mind, again, do not spoil this race, please. Let anyone who would like to see this unblemished be able to do it.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, check us out tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll have Noob Tree and Funnel Cakes. Should be another fantastic match. Would love to see you here. But for the rest of our team here tonight, my name is Smapey. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.
Have a good night. Thanks.